No matter if you are just starting out and wondering how to get clients for a new business, or if you've been at this for a while and simply want to get more clients now, you are going to love what I've got for you today. Before we jump right in, make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button to be notified each week when I release a new video on building your online business. No matter where you are in your business, getting clients comes down to three things: being able to attract constantly new leads, being able to convert those leads consistently into customers, and then, of course, being able to deliver on whatever it is those customers have just purchased from you. So let's talk about part one, attracting new leads. New leads are the lifeblood of every single business because that's how you're going to consistently drive more sales. So if you've been trying to fish in the same online groups or trying to email to your same audience over and over and wondering why you're not getting the sales that you want, it's not necessarily because your offer has all of a sudden lost its appeal or because something's wrong with your business. It could simply be because out of your existing audience, the people who are going to buy right now have already bought. And so now it's time to get your offer out there to new people who are going to be excited to buy right now. So that naturally leads to the question, where are you going to find all of these new leads? There are so many options, and I like to lump them into a few large categories. The first category is paid traffic, where you're buying traffic that comes to you. And some of the most popular sources of paid traffic are Facebook or Google or other large websites that have a large amount of organic traffic themselves that you can buy to direct back to your website. A second option is through joint ventures or partnerships, and this can take a few forms. A really common form is for you to do some sort of joint webinar or promotion or campaign with a partner where they promote you, they send their audience to you, and in return, they get a certain percentage of the sales that they just drove with their audience. Another way is through guest posting, for example, where you write an article, a really useful article for that publication's audience, and after they've read it, they have directions to go to a certain place on your website and potentially join your email list. Then there are organic sources of traffic, like writing for your own website and making sure that it's optimized for search engines so that when people search for a certain topic in Google, your website comes up. In this category, although it's not technically the same thing, I like to lump social media as well, because when used well, social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn can drive significant amounts of traffic and quality leads to you as well. The best part, why I lump them all together, is because it's free. When thinking through how to prioritize different sources of traffic, because it does take time to really build one good source up, this is how I like to think about it. Whenever I'm working with a client who's relatively new in business, one of the first things I like to look at is, what's your time, money, effort trade-off? If you have a lot of time but not a lot of money to invest into your business, then I usually recommend really targeting some high quality partnerships and organic methods to start building your audience. However, if you've gotten a few clients, you're getting okay at the manual organic lead generation, and you now want consistent income, then we go quickly to paid traffic so that we can have consistent leads coming into you all the time, and then have that consistent income foundation as well, which I'll talk about in a bit, before we move on to expanding via other traffic sources. So to get even more clear on what I mean, if you are starting out and you have gotten 0 clients yet, then my recommendation is usually to start with guest posts and with social media, but not just starting randomly with those things. Find at least 3 publications that are well-known in your industry and that do accept guest articles. Go ahead and pitch to those publications some ideas that you might have, and make sure you do your research on what kind of articles they like to publish, what topics they like to talk about, the tone and voice and style that they like to use. And then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and find the editor of the publication and directly email them with your ideas. Usually I like to send at least 2 or 3 to give them a few to think through instead of just sending one that is a very easy yes or often no for them. At the same time, be really focused on one platform that you can really use to build your audience organically. And that depends on your industry, to be honest. So for example, for my career coaching clients, LinkedIn is one of the top platforms that we go to immediately because that's where their audience is hanging out. If your audience of clients is more entrepreneurial, we'll start with Facebook groups. If your audience is younger, we might target Instagram. Or if you have a topic such as being college admissions that lends itself to a lot of searching, maybe we start with YouTube. This really comes down to knowing your audience and knowing where they're hanging out and how they find their information to be able to find the best platform for you to start on. Part 2 is the conversion mechanism that you have to take someone from a new lead who is a relative stranger to you and your work and convert them into a customer. This obviously takes some work, and this is also why I recommend that the majority of my clients who are just starting out start with free sources of traffic, because you don't want to be paying for traffic and then not know how to convert that traffic into clients and be wasting a lot of your money. This is a really common mistake that I see new entrepreneurs making, where they've heard some really bad advice that, oh, if you buy Facebook ads, everything is going to magically work out for you. No, it's just another source of traffic, and you still have to know how to convert that audience. And so what this looks like is the conversion process usually takes a few phases to evolve into your final conversion phase. And here's what I mean. When you're starting out, you don't necessarily know enough about your audience, and you're not as confident in your own ability to sell to be able to automate everything and have this perfect system that most new entrepreneurs dream of. You're going to get there, don't worry. But when you're starting out, it really is about leveraging your experience and your expertise and your personality to convert those sales instead of some automated system. What that means is that you're going to rely on the power of you connecting personally with someone and having a conversation with them about you and how you can help them to really be that conversion mechanism. This can be as simple as connecting with your potential clients on that platform that we just talked about for you in part 1, and really answering their questions, showing them how you can help them, and then leading them into a call, a conversation to talk about, hey, let's talk about how I can support you further. This is what it comes down to. I mean, there are, of course, so many tactics and fancy scripts that you can use, and I do talk about them in my flagship Employed Entrepreneur course. But honestly, when you're starting out and you don't have any of that yet, the most powerful tool that you do have is the power of human connection and just caring about your potential clients as people so that you can let them know, hey, here's how I can help you. Honestly, that's how I got my first quite a few clients without having a fancy website or any automated systems or really even knowing how to sell. It was just because I went out there, I saw people who were asking questions about what I could help with. So at the time, my business was digital advertising consulting. And I just messaged them or responded to their posts and said, hey, this is what I do in my job, and I'd be happy to help you for free. And that started a conversation, which led to a lot of back and forth and my providing lots of value. And then when there was a natural segue, my offering to continue to support them. And it did take a little bit longer. It wasn't as efficient as it could have been, but that's what happens when you're starting out. You're learning anyways, and you're not optimizing for the maximum efficiency or profitability. You're optimizing to learn and to get clients. When you do it that way, what happens very quickly is that after just a few clients, for most people, it's around 3 to 5 clients, you get to this point where you are really confident in knowing this is why someone comes to me. This is why someone buys from me. And now I'm confident in putting all of that into something that's more automated so that I can be a little bit more hands-off in my conversion process. For most online businesses that are in coaching or consulting or some sort of service, the best way to convert that into an automated system is through a webinar. And what that does is the webinar basically takes exactly what you were talking about with your potential clients manually initially into a 45 to hour-long class that walks them through the same thing, where you'll share, hey, here's my strategy for how I can help you, so that creates that belief in your audience that, okay, I can see how this is going to work. It's not just fluff where they're promising me something, but not even sharing how they can help me. And then building credibility as well as you disperse testimonials and your own background and experience and knowledge throughout those 45 to 60 minutes. And what that really does is it naturally leads to a point at the end of the webinar where you're able to say to someone, hey, this is exactly how I can help you. You've seen the testimonials I've shared. You've heard about my own experience. If you would like my help to help you get similar results, then go ahead and schedule a call with me or eventually your team as you scale your business to talk about if this is a good fit for you. I do want to caveat, it's not usually as simple as just setting up a webinar and you're good. It does take a lot of testing and optimization. I mean, I have an entire module on teaching my students how to test this in my employed entrepreneur course. So I don't want anyone to walk away from this video thinking, oh, I'm just going to throw something up and it's going to work. I want you to walk away with that mindset that, yeah, this is going to work, but I'm going to be prepared to test it and optimize it to make sure it works for me. Because once you have that, this is something that you can use for years and years to come. That's going to consistently take the leads that you're driving from what we talked about in part one, your attraction systems, and convert them into sales calls and clients on pretty much autopilot for however long in your business. The final part is the delivery. Obviously, you've gotten clients, you've attracted new leads, you've converted them into clients, and now you have to deliver on what you promised. And so this comes down to a few things. First, really thinking through, what does your audience really need to get results? Now, here's what I mean. Usually when new coaches and consultants start out, it's very simple. And that's one of the reasons why I usually recommend a coaching, consulting type business for new entrepreneurs, because you can go out there and get started today because you already have that experience, that knowledge that you're going to help people with. You don't need to create a new product. And the way that you deliver with your clients is to work with them one-on-one. So for me, for example, when I was first starting out with my first few clients, I really was nervous that I wouldn't know what to talk with them on the calls that we were going to go through, but I also had the confidence of knowing my area of expertise. And so what I did was before every single call, I would prepare. I would spend an hour or more preparing for an hour-long call. My very first client call, I wrote out the entire script for what I was going to say, literally every single word. And that was what I needed to do. But what that allowed me to do was to get super clear on exactly what I was going to walk each client through on each call and how I was going to customize my knowledge to help them get the results they wanted as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And what that did was, after honestly just about 2 to 3 clients, I started recognizing patterns. So I want to recap before we move on. Initially, what you're doing is there's going to be a lot of customization. You're probably going to do prep work before each call for your first 1 to 3 clients, where you take your knowledge and really think through, how am I going to customize it for this client to help them get the best results? You already have your expertise, but now you have to learn an additional skill of how do I turn that expertise into being able to help others, right? So part of the process. But again, it doesn't take that long. After just your first 1 to 3 clients, you are in a really great place. And once you start noticing those patterns, you start systematizing what you're talking with each client on. So after about my first 3 clients, I had the same worksheets and questions laid out in Google Docs. Again, really simple, nothing fancy, so that on each call, we would just go through these steps. And for the first few steps, it was always the same. And then as I worked with a couple more clients, my next 3 or so, I realized, okay, now I'm starting to see a pattern in my next few calls. And what that allowed me to do was, within my first 10 clients, have this really pretty systematized process that I walked every person through. Now, of course, within the details, there were specific things that did need to be customized per person, but that's to be expected because they're hiring you at a premium rate for premium support. However, the framework is the same. After about 10 clients or so, I was really confident in my system, in how systematized it was, and in its ability to help my clients get results because I was starting to see that. And that's when I started thinking about, okay, how can I leverage this so that I'm not the only person that has to deliver all of this and I'm the bottleneck for getting more clients and for supporting them. That's when I put my content into a course and turned it into a group program. And there are so many ways to do this. You can create some of your content and put it into a smaller course that you sell and launch. Or you can simply take everything you are working with your clients on one-on-one and convert that into a comprehensive higher level premium group program. I personally went the first way. Nowadays, I see a lot of my clients going the second way because honestly, it's an easier transition. You take the exact same system that you're using to get one-on-one clients with parts 1 and 2 that we just talked about, and then simply take yourself out of it a little bit. You're still doing calls and providing support, but maybe not so much customized per person, and you're adding in other coaches to support you so that you can scale this while doing less work yourself. And so when you're scaling that, you might be adding program coaches to support you. And there are quite a few ways to do that as well. So for a lot of my students, what they do is it's hard for them to find program coaches who can support them in every aspect of that coaching because that took a lot of work and experience to be able to do that. But they'll find program coaches who specialize in a certain area that they help people with and who are really good at helping people with just that. So here's what I mean. For example, for my clients who are college admissions consultants, they might find program coaches who specialize in one area like essay writing or maybe college interviews and have them help their students on just that one area while they still provide the overall strategy and other areas of support. Or for my clients who are career coaches, they might hire program coaches who focus on resumes or interviews or another certain area. And then those career coaches themselves are able to, again, provide the high-level strategy and the other areas of support. So just a few examples to get your own creative juices flowing to think about when you get to that stage or if you're at that stage already. So those are the 3 parts you need to get clients online. Now, I know I just packed a lot of stuff into one video, so take a second to absorb it and then go ahead and let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway was. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any additional questions, let me know in the comments. My next video might just be talking more about that. Now, we could spend hours talking about each of these parts in detail, honestly. And so what I've got for you is another very important component to be able to get clients, which is to have an irresistible offer, not only in of itself, but be able to share it in a way that makes it irresistible to your potential clients. So go ahead and check out that video that I've got for you. It's in the link description below on how to make sure that your offer is truly irresistible to your audience. Because there's a big difference between having a great offer and having your audience think it's a great offer. And I want to make sure for you that I know you have a great offer, and I want to help you make sure that your audience knows that it's great as well. There's one more thing I've got for you today. If you want to know the entire system end to end that I walk my clients through on automating the system and making sure that they're getting consistent clients so that they can make consistent 5K, 10K or more per month, go ahead and check out the free masterclass training that I've got for you sharing exactly this. It's also in the link description below, so make sure you go ahead and check it out now because it's going to walk you through how to set up each of those steps that we just talked about in your business in more detail and a few more elements that we didn't have time to get into on this video that are critical for making the system work for yourself. If you liked this video, please let me know by liking it below. And again, remember, let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway was or what questions are coming up for you about this. I would love to share more details. I just want you to tell me what more details you'd love to hear about. Don't forget to subscribe for my weekly videos, share this with your entrepreneurial friends, and I will see you next time.